analyst at the observatory, working on VOD markets and pay TV markets. And this presentation is to give you an overview of pay audiovisual services in the European Union and to take a closer look if cord cutting is really happening or not. So, I said first a short overview, what is happening on the market, what are the trends, then a closer look at cord cutting, and finally, what does it all mean for pay TV and SVOD service? What could be the future? The overview. First, pay TV is the biggest market segment in the European Union. Roughly 34 billion euros in 2017, 31% of overall market revenues. You see it's a big element. SVOD services, on the other hand, are still relatively small. They're generating 3% of overall market revenues. But if we look at the growth trends, you clearly see where the dynamic is. VOD on-demand services are growing at a much faster rate than the whole overall market. The markets are either stagnant for pay TV or decreasing. So we see a kind of a catch-up. It's still a small market, but it's growing at a much faster rate. And when we talk about this pan-European picture, it only gives a partial overview. Of course, market conditions are different from country to country, and this is to give you a snapshot to say, okay, 28 countries are in this snapshot, but as we will see later on, market conditions differ. And when we are talking about cord cutting, it means subscriber canceling their pay TV service in order to subscribe to SVOD services. So when taking a closer look on subscriber growth, we can really see a different picture. The past 5 years, SVOD services added nearly over 50, 60 million subscribers, while pay TV grew only by 7 million. 90% of our all net additions to subscription services were generated by SVOD. And so in 2018, already over 35% of all subscribers are subscribing to SVOD services. But still, you can see it, pay TV has a much larger subscriber base. Of course, pay TV services are selling TV services, but they are also selling access to internet, phone services, triple play, quadruple play. So this is clearly indicated here. People are keeping their subscription because they still want to access the web, they still want to be able to use their phones. And now the question is, who has really profited from this subscriber growth? When we look at market players, here you can clearly see over 14 companies represent almost 80% of all subscribers to pay services in the European Union. And if you take a closer look, Netflix and Amazon, new market entrants, they weren't even on the European market 5, 6 years before, already represent over 30% of all subscribers. These are really concentrated markets, capital intensive. For pay TV service, you need to set up an infrastructure, you need to invest in content. This costs a lot of money. SVOD, the same. You need really premium content, which now reaches in the tens or hundreds of millions of euros. Netflix, Amazon are investing billions of euros into content in order to attract subscribers. So there's a clear need of scale. You need scale to compete in this market. As you can see, over 90% of other pay TV services represent under 1/4 of all subscriptions. Those are smaller players. And when we talk about big players, let's see how they are implanted in Europe. You can see that most of the bigger players are telecom operators. Liberty Global, Orange, Deutsche Telekom are among the biggest players in Europe. And these players, their core business is clearly not selling television service, it's a supplement to the core business telecom services. And another point is there are only two really pan-European players on the SVOD market, being Netflix and Amazon. So you see, maybe there can be national players, but in order to really succeed, generate subscriber growth, you have to be present on a multi-country or even pan-European scale. But subscriber growth was impressive. When we look at the revenues generated, clearly big advantage to pay TV. Pay TV costs a lot more, it's generating a more average revenue per user, and so SVOD being much more cheaper, under 10 euros, mostly for monthly subscription, are still only representing 13% of all overall subscription revenues generated on the European market. But the question is, subscribers are getting used to subscribing at a lower price point. Pay TV players are reacting by launching their own streaming services and risk maybe in the future to generate much less from the TV revenues. So they will have to adapt their strategy. They do this mainly now by launching direct-to-consumer subscription services and are indicating a shift in business strategy by collaborating more or trying alliances with other players on the market. So we have seen subscribers are clearly growing in Europe, be it for pay TV at a lower rate or SVOD at a quicker rate. What about cord cutting? Well, as I said before, market conditions are very different in Europe. We published a report the last 2 months looking at pay audiovisual services. And there we identified 3 main types of market with 3 main types of pay TV player strategy. The first kind of market is mostly situated in Western and Southern Europe. Here, pay TV services are expensive, but pay TV penetration is low. On the other hand, users have quickly adopted SVOD services. Here, pay TV players are reacting by trying to get more subscribers, meaning have a bigger penetration into the population, and they're doing this by launching more services, try to offer premium services, and they do it at the expense of their cost, of their average revenue per user. They are willing to sacrifice revenue per user in order to be able to grow a little bit more. Another category of countries, mostly in Central and Eastern Europe, here pay TV penetration is low or big, SVOD penetration is quite low, and pay TV services cost not that much. Here pay TV players are trying to offer premium services, premium content in order to further their penetration, and they are not obliged to sacrifice their revenue per users because it's quite low, so there's clearly room for growth for them. And then a third type of country, mostly in Northern Europe, here they share the same market conditions. High pay TV and SVOD penetration, high pay TV costs, high broadband penetration, and here users are starting to switch from pay TV services to SVOD services, which seem to offer them their media consumption. Those markets have seen a decrease in the recent years of their pay TV subscribers. And this is the markets we are going to focus on, namely Denmark, the United Kingdom, and Sweden. As I said, on average, pay TV subscribers grow the last couple of years. Only 6 countries lost pay TV subs, and for economic reasons, it was the case in Greece and Lithuania, where people preferred to reduce their media consumption. But in the other 4 countries, people really switched from a pay TV service to an SVOD service. They share clearly common factors: high broadband penetration, high pay TV, high SVOD penetration, and high pay TV costs. And another important fact is to see that on those markets, a national SVOD player is in a strong position, be it Viaplay or C More in the Nordics or Sky in the UK, in addition to these global giants. So people often switched to take one or two international SVOD services in addition to a local one. As I said, they share common characteristics: high costs of pay TV compared to SVOD, but also to the Western European average. And of course, consumers are price sensitive. They're paying less than 10 euros, what cost them before over 30 or 40 euros, so they are switching. And this translates into a high penetration of SVOD already in 2018, clearly compared to Western Europe, but much more to the European Union. And the resulting factor, the result of this combination of factors is a decrease in pay TV subscribers, over 7% past year in Denmark or Sweden, for example, and a quick growth, quick uptake of SVOD service. The SVOD market is already major in these countries. And you can see in 2 out of 3 of these countries, there are already more SVOD subscribers than pay TV subscribers, which was unheard 5, 6 years ago. So, and as I have said before, there's already another trend, SVOD stacking. People are more and more taking more than one SVOD service. Two on average in this market, but 3 is not unheard of. So this poses a real challenge to pay TV players. And one can ask, what does this mean for the future? So, outlook. At the beginning, there was clearly a fear that SVOD will be a competitor to the incumbent services. But in 2019, in Western Europe at least, most pay TV providers have launched their own streaming services. They have copied the business model of these new entrants. On the other hand, they have started also to distribute their competitors. There have been many agreements between Netflix and Amazon and pay TV providers to be present on their set-top box, because consumers want more choice in content. We are used to have an abundance of content. We want more choice. So for my assessment, or our assessment, is there's a risk more to premium pay TV linear channels who are betting on premium sports rights or live events to retain their subscriber base than really on pay TV providers who are distributing TV services, but who are also offering access to the internet and telephone services. The outlook in the coming next year, pay TV subscribers will still grow moderately in Europe. Revenues will grow much quicker because they are offering more services, more premium services. And finally, there will be only 5 countries which will lose subscribers. So in Europe, cord cutting is limited to the northern part, let's say. And the final take will be, they started as competitors. There was this fear of cord cutting. They each competed for the consumer's money. But in a second step, they became frenemies. They started to collaborate on big premium content productions. Pay TV providers licensed their original content of them and had an additional revenue stream. And they saw that finally they are not yet competing for premium sports rights. So a competition was possible. And in 2009, they have become partners. It's a win-win situation for both of them. Pay TV are offering more choice to the consumers. SVOD have a larger distribution and are being present in consumers' living rooms. And finally, each of them is saying, okay, we are in a win-win position. Our pay TV providers, our core business is offering access to the web, to the internet. SVOD is more offering content. And I think in 2009, this is quite a picture. And for the foreseeable future, it will be like this. And that was my take, and I hope that it will add to the panel discussion later on. Thank you very much. Спасибо.